Hello and welcome on behalf of the Partnership for Public Service. My name is Danica Harutian and I'm a manager on our Federal Workforce Programs team. Thank you for joining us to learn all about the Federal Advisor Certificate Program created by our team for the Call to Serve Network, the only network that collaborates with over 1,300 higher education professionals and federal agencies to bring young talent into public service. Later, we'll be joined by a few panelists from our summer 2023 cohort of the Federal Advisor Certificate Program, so you can hear perspectives directly from them about the value that the program brought to their roles on campus. If you have questions, please add them to the chat and we'll be able to answer them after the event. First, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Katie Hogan. Katie is a senior manager who leads the partnership strategy to inspire the next generation to consider a career in public service. In her role, she manages several key federal internship programs and oversees the Call to Serve network of colleges and universities. Previously, Katie directed Ohio State University's Washington, D.C. internship and fellowship programs at the John Glenn College of Public Affairs, and also taught professional development courses at Ohio State for undergrad and graduate students with curriculum focused on federal careers. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Danica, and thank you all for joining us. We're so excited to talk to you today. So we have a couple of slides to share, so we will get those up. But I'm going to begin by talking about why it's important to know about federal hiring and public service. So as we begin, let's address the why. So why is it important that the partnership offers the Federal Advisor Certificate Program in the first place? So this program is awesome. I would have loved if it was in existence when I was in higher ed working with students interested in federal internships and careers. But this program enables participants to become truly expert in all things federal hiring. To support those aspiring public servants that you have on your campuses. And we know so many of your students want to go on and do good things for the world. So the partnership, a little bit more about us. We believe that a strong federal government means a strong federal democracy. So one of the ways that we live up to that part of our mission is through our Call to Serve network, which Danica mentioned at the top. So the Call to Serve network, I was a member of it when I worked in higher education. It's a network for the higher education community, and it's designed to provide resources and training for members so they can help recruit students to the federal government and be that next generation to serve. You might be wondering, why is that important and why the federal government? So currently, just 7% of the federal workforce is under the age of 30, and the federal government is the largest employer in the country, and it does, most importantly, real work that affects real people every day. So that's why we created the Federal Advisor Certificate Program earlier this year. We just closed out, I'm so excited. We just closed out our first session this summer. We have some folks you're going to hear from that participated, but we are offering it again this fall and hope that you will consider joining us. So as we move through the slides, why should you consider enrolling in this course? So as I mentioned, you will become truly expert. You will gain expertise. You'll also build a community of peers. So you'll notice that our panelists that you'll hear from shortly are from completely different parts of the country and from different higher education institutions. So you'll get to connect with people from all over. And most importantly, you'll be able to serve your students who have that desire to become change agents and become public servants. We also know that federal hiring is really difficult to navigate. There's a vast range of opportunities across our huge and complex system of government, and it is really confusing. I know that when I used to advise students into federal opportunities, I was often really confused and sometimes spent hours figuring out how these things worked myself. So this program is really designed to break down the process, to give you all the information that is available out there in one place, and all of the pathways, which there are many, that you could advise your students through into federal careers. It's really important to mention that the folks that built this program, myself and my colleagues like Danica, used to work in higher education before joining the Partnership for Public Service to build this program, so we know from experience. So I'm going to share a little bit more about my background. Danica mentioned where I worked before, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. So before joining the Call to Serve team here at the Partnership, I worked in higher education for nearly a decade. I ran all the internship programming for Ohio State University's Washington, D.C. office, both for graduate and undergraduate students. And many of the internship placements that I coached them into were with the federal government. Especially when I started, I found the federal hiring process to be really challenging and confusing. To be completely candid, I found it to be one of the greatest challenges of that job. A different resume, USA jobs? What is a pathways position? But as I said, I worked to figure it out. It took a lot of time. I worked to navigate paid opportunities in government for students. I started to build a lot of content into the classes that I taught and into the programming that I offered through the student programming that we had. And I learned that if you teach students how the federal system works and provide them with the support, and it does take more than industry many times, they will see results. I did successfully get students into paid positions in government, and many of them are still in government today, which I feel really awesome about. So our team at the partnership has worked really hard to build a program with higher education professionals in mind. Like I said, I really wish something like this existed. So that was at the forefront of my mind when we designed this program before we delivered it. I know a number of students want to make a difference in the world, and there are many ways to do that, but we feel strongly that they should consider the federal government. There's a lot of awesome opportunities in government, and we need them. Just 7% are under the age of 30. So this program is designed with that in mind as well. So I'm sure you're wondering what specifically the content would look like, which we're going to go into in the next slide. So first, it's important to note that this course is fully asynchronous. There are weekly modules with weekly assignments and requirements for engagement that are paced by week. So there are deadlines at the end of every week, but there are no required live sessions over the course of the 7 weeks. The course culminates into what is called a final campus plan, allowing you to utilize your new knowledge on federal advising and implement processes for your office. So that plan is really customizable. It's meant to be for you and your colleagues, your campus. One of the things I enjoyed most about facilitating this program this summer is that campuses are really different. I learned so much from my 44 participants. So the plan is really flexible. It's more of a toolkit and a structure so that you can think about what you and your students need or you and your staff need and how to put it into action in a way that's meaningful and practical for you. For a brief overview of the content, this slide notes just a sneak peek of what the material will cover, including a thorough guide on how to navigate USA jobs, how to guide students through that federal resume writing process, and endless resources on our Go Government career guide. We also have over 36 videos created specifically for this program. So my team spent months writing scripts, developing videos, and you can find all of those in this program, which is an invaluable resource. So with that, I think it's time to hear from folks who can speak to the experience best, which are our wonderful panelists and certified federal advisors, I will say, which is really exciting.
Very exciting. Thank you, Katie. So we are welcoming our panelists, Carissa Chabot-Purchase from Michigan State University and Joel Morocco from the University of Arizona. I'll first ask them to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about your institution and your role on campus. Carissa, let's start with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carissa Chabot-Purchase. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm coming in to this session from East Lansing, Michigan, the campus of Michigan State University. We are a very large campus, 50,000 plus undergrad and grad students, and the place I sort of live on campus is James Madison College. So we're one of 3 residential colleges on campus, and it is an undergraduate program focused on international and public affairs. So just past the 8-year mark here on campus, and I'm one of our career advisors. So I'm here to help students prepare for out of classroom opportunities that happen while they're here, and then make plans for after graduation.
Great. And Joel, tell us about your role on campus.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Joel Morocco, and I'm an assistant professor of practice, just means teaching faculty at the University of Arizona. So my role is a little different from what I was gathering from my cohort in the program and kind of seeing their roles. So I was thinking about how best to explain why I'm in this program and what I'm trying to accomplish. And so succinctly, at the University of Arizona, they have a centralized career services office, and then within the colleges, some of the colleges also have centralized career services. So in my college, I'm in the College of Agriculture, Life, and Environmental Sciences. We have the Pasquinelli Career Center. And so within that, my school is housed, the Norton School of Human Ecology. And in my role as teaching faculty, I also am what we call a career champion. So I am part of a network on campus here of faculty and staff dedicated to the career and professional development of our students. And the reason I'm a career champion is because prior to coming into this role, I spent 4 years as a career educator at the University of Arizona. So I'm very passionate about this work and what we're trying to accomplish here. So the Pasquinelli Career Center in Kales is the one that offered me the opportunity to take this certificate program this summer to become better, more knowledgeable, better versed in all things federal career.
Great. Thank you both for those introductions. And Joel, with your dual role on campus, when you first heard about the Federal Advisor Certificate Program, why were you interested in joining it this summer?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, I spent 4 years at the University of Arizona providing career education, career services. We're very similar in size to Carissa's institution, about 50,000 undergrads and grad students collectively on campus here. And I still just didn't feel very knowledgeable about the whole process. And I didn't feel very confident in my ability to support students who might want to pursue opportunities with the federal government. And so I was really excited to kind of learn about all of the things that are offered and the ways in which students can engage and get connected and get in, and thinking about not only supporting students who have that interest, but then being able to recommend the federal government as a potential employer for long-term career success for students who may not have ever thought about that, right? When I think about students, today on college campuses, more than ever, they want to stay local, they want to stay regional. They're not looking to travel necessarily across the country just for a job. And so I really like when I grabbed this stat, that only 20% of federal employees are in Washington, D.C., right? Something that I was not aware of. When I think about government jobs, I'm thinking, oh, you're back east, you're on the East Coast, right? But learning about all of the opportunities that are available just across the country, but also virtually for internships and volunteer opportunities. So I just really was excited to learn all of that so I can take this new knowledge and excitement and share it with students in the Norton School, in Kales, at the U of A, but also with my colleagues, right, to help them support their students professionally and with their career goals.
Absolutely. We have been so happy to have you both in the summer program. Carissa, what drew you to this certificate program?
I think a few things. So part of our strategic plan at James Madison College is to prepare students to understand, creatively address sometimes all of the challenges that we're seeing play out in public affairs today. We could be on a 5-hour LinkedIn call talking about all of those, right? But many of the students I serve here at Michigan State are interested in opportunities to serve in government, whether that's local government, state government, federal government. I've been in the role for a while, but when I saw this, I said, you know what, I have experience advising in federal government, but I'm not an expert. There's always more to learn. And I know based on some of the marketing that there's a high need for younger talent in this space. And I thought, you know what, this is really relevant. I think the word I said to my colleague when I said, I think I'm going to do this is this looks kind of perfect, right, for me. So it was kind of an easy decision for me. I'm also a former government employee myself. So I know firsthand that we need top talent working at all levels of government. So kind of selfishly with my self-interest in mind as a citizen, I know I need to get good people into these spaces who are inspired, creative, energized to, do that work that has a profound impact on all of our daily lives.
Thank you both for sharing. Your students are in great hands. It's great to hear more about your motivation for the program. Now that the summer program is complete, can you share 1 or 2 highlights from the content of the program? Or was there one key resource or interview from a guest speaker that you'd like others to know about? Carissa, let's start with you.
Well, one of the things I found useful right from the get-go was understanding the number of early stage opportunities there are for students. So I knew that there were internships and co-op programs for students in the federal government, but my eyes were open to so many other directions, right? And not only that, but to understand how do students find these, some of the paths to finding those roles are more indirect than others. What are the timelines for applications? I meet with too many students who say, I wish I'd known about this a year ago when it was my prime time to apply, right? And even how to stand out as an applicant. All of that is content that I'm already applying in advising appointments. So I was really excited about that. I can talk until I'm blue in the face about the benefits of a government career, but I really appreciated the overview we were provided on that front too, right? Our Gen Z students don't always consider careers in the federal government, right? But being able to unpack and sort of get an update on all of the benefits of federal service, whether that's leave, holidays, flexible work arrangements, health, retirement benefits, those student loan repayment and public service loan forgiveness programs, those really resonate with my students who are keeping the cost of college in mind sort of at all times. And then, so much more, right? All of that fulfillment that comes with working in a role that has so much impact on our communities and the people in them, right? That refresher has been fantastic, and I feel ready to pitch government roles to anyone that walks through my door.
Amazing. And Joel, what have been highlights for you from the program content?
I was wanted to second everything Carissa said and say also that, yeah, if someone were to walk into my office right now and sit down, I would probably start with federal opportunities. And like, have you thought about these? Like, do you know about these things? But this is a great question. And I was really trying to reflect on what are the things that I think I'm going to definitely carry with me and remember going forward from this experience. And so one of the things I really liked that we do early on in the certificate program is we go to Go Government and we use their career guides. And I really liked that because most career offices across, this country at least, right, try to group careers by area or clusters or families. You can just, switch in your word here for whatever you want to call them. And it's really nice to see the way that Go Government has done that. And when you go in and you look at their career guides, it gives you information about the different jobs, but it gives you those job series codes, right? And so maybe this was just me not thinking I had a good knowledge base of how to operate and navigate, but learning this through the certificate program to take those codes, go to USA Jobs, put those in, and then voila, there are the jobs and opportunities that you might be really interested in based on that career guide, right? Based on that area, that cluster, that family of types of jobs, which for my students, so, I teach in human development and family science, they're very mission-driven students. They want to help children, youth, families, and communities. And so being able to very quickly say, this is the career guide that makes sense for me. Here are the codes that I can go plug in, and then I can give them concrete steps. Now go here and put those in and explore. I think that's huge. It's really helpful. I think it helps to create agency in our students, right? That we can say, this isn't as complicated as we might think. Here are the the steps you take, and then you can go and you can do this on your own. You can do this over and over again. Is really, really impactful and powerful. And the only other thing I was thinking about that was really nice about this program was the applicability of all of the assignments. So when we think about going through a certificate program or any type of educational experience, we've all been there. It's just regurgitate what you just learned, and you're kind of like, that's, I guess helpful, but the applicability in everything we did here was really nice, right? So thinking about how it prompted us to go create accounts on relevant sites and to explore those resources, or to, walk through student scenario advising sessions, and a student comes in and says this, and what would you do now that you have this knowledge? All the way through that campus plan that we started and worked on as our capstone project over the course of the certificate was really nice. And it really helped, me think about my approach, my philosophy, right? The goals and objectives within my school, my college, my university, and trying to navigate all of those in ways that was really, really relevant from where I'm sitting and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I do know, I'll just say anecdotally, there are other people from the University of Arizona who are taking this certificate program through CALES in particular. We're not in the same cohort, but we have connected and we have talked and we have shared. And so thinking about the ways in which there's going to be this synergy now because of the shared experience is really nice.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's a great segue into our final question. I can't believe we're heading into the fall term pretty soon. So as we head into the next season of working with students, in summary, how has this program benefited your work? Joel, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I have 3 quick bullets, and I'll run through them quickly. So I just generally feel substantially more knowledgeable about the entire federal government hiring process, timelines, resumes, resources, how to help students navigate that. So I feel more knowledgeable, which means I feel more confident in my abilities to support students who might be interested and to recommend it to students who might not be thinking about it as a potential option. And like I said, previously talking to my colleagues, specifically in the Pasquinelli Career Center here in Kales, there are lots of really awesome opportunities that we're talking about to better support our students around federal opportunities. So I know that one of them is already working on the website side of things to create a space just for federal opportunities and to connect students to those and provide those links and resources so they can do this work should they be, looking on their own, exploring on their own. And then I'll just end with saying that in addition to that, I've been talking to my colleagues here in the Norton School of Human Ecology because we have a dedicated experiential learning coordinator, right? So her whole role is to support students in finding opportunities both while they're here and then launching successfully into their career after. So I've been talking to her about how to offer workshops around federal employment in particular that I'm more than happy and have offered to lead. So we're talking about doing that this semester, as well as talking to our marketing and communications person that we have in Norton for how we can push out social media posts about relevant opportunities in the federal government and thinking about pairing each post, maybe one a month, with a fun fact about the federal government, right? Talking about that 7% being under the age of 30, right? Talking about 20% of opportunities not being, or only 20% of opportunities being in the Washington, D.C. area. So trying to dispel some of these myths that I think, students have, we, as professionals might have too, just because we don't have that insight and have that knowledge.
Thank you so much. And Carissa, how has this program benefited your work that you'll bring forward?
Yeah, so I think my first notable takeaway is similar to something that Joel mentioned, and that is I have a whole new set of knowledge about the types of majors, skill sets, experiences that the federal government is looking for in younger talent that even at times surprised me, right? I work with students that this is a very typical career path, but I have partners and colleagues on campus who work with students that have very different majors than mine. And I was pleasantly surprised to be reminded that there are really fitting opportunities for those folks in federal government too, right? People who chose a major and never imagined working in the federal government, there are some exciting, lucrative roles for them in that space. So one of the first things I've already begun to sort of share is some training of colleagues and some reminders with key colleges on our campus. Hey, don't forget, you should be pitching federal careers to your students, and here's why, right? The other thing that I think reflecting on the program that has been helpful is it's empowered me to deepen some of the programming on federal government that we already offer to students. So for example, we've offered lots of federal resume workshops in the past. This fall already, we're going to be offering a new and improved federal resume workshop, but we're also going to offer a workshop on exploring early opportunities in federal government, right? Those internships, those co-ops, those pathway programs. And then we're going to wrap up that series with a program on looking for full-time roles in federal government, right? Where we can strategically introduce students to resources that make the most sense for them, right? Rather than throw all of it out there and say, good luck. So that's been fantastic. And, generally in many cases, I had a refreshed overview and in some moments, brand new introduction to some resources that are just fantastic that I can't wait to share with students who are considering these career paths and help them navigate. It's always nice to know that there's still more to learn, right? That's what keeps our jobs fresh and exciting. And this course, easily one of the most worthwhile professional development endeavors that I've pursued in recent years.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Carissa and Joel for all the work that you are doing to guide your students into meaningful careers of all kinds, including public service. Thank you for your time in this program and for taking the time to share your perspectives with us as panelists today. To those that are attending the event, by joining this program, you would join Carissa and Joel as alumni in this growing network as well. We hope you'll join us. So to move forward, to answer the question, how can you sign up for this program? There should be a link in the event chat with more information on our website. But as shown on the slides, you can join our free network with our newsletter resources every month, anytime by opting in on our website and receiving resources from the Partnership for Public Service. To enroll in the Federal Advisor Certificate Program, you would enroll at either the Tier 2 or Tier 3 network membership. The costs are listed on the screen and on our website for further information. If you're interested in an individual enrollment for you, your team at your institution, or a larger group as well at your university. So we are happy to answer questions following the event. And thank you for your time. We have one last exciting announcement. So I'm going to welcome Katie back to share.
Thanks, Danica. I'm still beaming from the panel. That was so wonderful. And just thank you again to both of you. So the Call to Serve team is always coming up with ways to help career advisors and job seekers. So you heard it here first. Launching in September on gogovernment.org, Partnership is going to release our first ever comprehensive index of federal opportunities. This is going to be a user-friendly, searchable resource that includes the ability to filter federal opportunities by agency, opportunity types, so such as fellowships, internships, full-time, part-time, paid, unpaid, career fields based on those career guides that were mentioned, and more. So it's going to be awesome. This is the thing that I dreamed of when I was in my old job. Because again, we know it can just be really frustrating. The government is large and complex and sometimes decentralized. So searching for those federal opportunities across different websites and agencies can be really difficult. So this resource is designed to the best of our ability, streamline all of the opportunities. It took months to do this research and build this tool. So we're really excited to bring it to you. This resource was shared with our summer certificate participants, and we're excited to release it publicly this fall for everyone. Job seekers, career advisors. So please, at the very least, if you're not already plugged into that free tier of membership that Danica just mentioned, please sign up because you'll get our monthly emails and you'll know first when that tool drops. All right. So this concludes our LinkedIn Live event. Please get in touch with us by connecting with us on LinkedIn and using the email address in the chat. Thank you again to our fabulous panelists. I cannot thank you enough. It was so wonderful to hear your experience. And thank you all for joining us today. We really hope to see you in our fall cohort of the Federal Advisor Certificate Program. Thank you.